Remember that commenting and subscribing enters you into this week's giveaway, which is a foil copy of Satoru Umezawa. The results for the giveaway will be announced this Sunday on February 20th. Good luck. What's good, YouTube? My name is Coach, and in today's video, we're going to be going over Wyleth, Soul of Steel. This is one of the commanders that I have inside my collection. I received a comment from one of my subscribers talking about this commander, so we're just going to go over this commander deck today. So Wyleth, Soul of Steel is a 3-cost commander, 1 generic in Boros. He has Trample, and he reads, whenever Wyleth Soul of Steel attacks, draw a card for each aura and equipment attached to it. He's a 2/2. Wyleth is actually incredibly fun. If you're a person who's just getting started in Commander, Wyleth, it's so simple to attack. You get to attack 1 time every turn. Later on in the game, as you begin to equip more equipment to Wyleth, you're drawing 4, 5, 7 cards a pop, and it just turns into an insurmountable amount of card advantage. And as long as you can keep people from targeting Wyleth, in a sense protecting Wyleth, you put yourself to have the opportunity to win the game. So what was interesting is that with Kamigawa Neon Dynasty releasing, it seems that they specifically made Kamigawa to buff Wyleth. So first cards that we're going to go over here are all the cards from Kamigawa that I was able to place into Wyleth so that I could make Wyleth better. So a lot of his cards read, whenever a samurai or warrior, mind you, Wyleth is a warrior, you control, attacks alone. It's all you really want to do in a Wyleth deck is just attack with Wyleth. You may discard a card and draw a card. Whenever a samurai or warrior, I'm not even going to read that part, it gains lifelink. You can also sacrifice this to give a creature indestructible. Attacks alone, tap target creature you don't control. The Lion's Sash. So this card, you can pay a white mana to exile a card from a graveyard. If you do, it was a permanent, put a counter on this. When you equip this onto Wyleth, it gets +1/+1 for each permanent you exiled. Lizard Blades just gives Wyleth double strike. So I'm not even gonna. Heiko Yamazaki. Whenever attacks alone, you cast an artifact card from your graveyard. Attacks alone, you can cast an enchantment from your graveyard. And attacks alone, you get an additional combat phase after this phase. So essentially you get to draw twice with Wyleth. Pretty good card. So speaking of card draw is incredibly important, so we're just going to go over the card draw cards that we have next. We have SRAM, Senior Edificer. We have the Armored Sky Hunter. Technically it's not card draw. However, you look at the top 6 cards of your library by attacking with a flyer. You know, its ability is pretty strong. But we have a Pure Steel Paladin. And we have Akiri the Fearless Voyager. So all the cards that help us draw cards. We don't need too many because Wyleth is just going to draw us an abundance of cards. Next cards we're going to go over are ways to protect Wyleth. We'll go over our equipment last. That's probably the most important part of the deck. This is the way we protect Wyleth. So we're only running a couple, like almost 3 enchantments or auras inside this deck, being the Mammoth Umbra, has totem armor, the Hyena Umbra, which has totem armor, basically gives Wyleth protection or regenerate. Boros Charm, which gives all your permanents indestructible. We have a Valorous Stance, which can give a creature indestructible. Gerard the Weatherlight Hero, which is going to return to the battlefield all creature cards and artifacts if they were destroyed. It's good protection. Selfless Savior, that'll give Wylith indestructible. Benevolent Bodyguard will give him protection. Anna's Custody says their artifacts cannot be the target of spells or abilities. Enchantment. And then it says artifacts you control have hexproof. The Leonin Abulis. Okay. Just in case we do get our artifacts removed, these cards over here, we're going to be playing a card that says remember, it's called Remember the Fallen. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, and or return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. So a creature and an artifact. The Ironclad Slayer just returns an artifact most of the time. Sun Titan, we have equipment that gives creatures haste, so playing a Sun Titan, returning something to the battlefield, and then attacking with Sun Titan on the same turn to return another thing from the battlefield. 6 mana is pretty good. And then we have Tiana, which is gonna be able to take auras and equipment, and when they go to the graveyard, we can just put it back to our hand at the beginning of the next end step. Some of the other GG or other important cards that we have over here are Brunor, which gives, for each equipment you have to attach to Wylith, he gets +2, +0, and considering the fact that Wylith naturally has trample, this tends to be a pretty strong ability. He also allows your equip abilities to cost 0, which depending on the equipment that we'll go over in a moment, you'll see that that's a pretty backbreaking card right here. We have the Rayev, the Master Smith, which is essentially just going to give Wylith double strike. Another card that allows equipment to be attached for free, essentially. Arden is just a GG card. We have this Intimidator. Cowards can't block warriors, and you can turn any target creature into a coward. So this card essentially gives Wylith unblockable. We have Seize the Day. You untap target creature, you get another combat phase. I run this one because you not only get it once, but this card has flashback, so you can actually cast it again. You can activate this twice. You have Sigarda's Aid, or an equipment spells have flash, and then when you cast an equipment spell, you can attach to a creature automatically. We have a Heavenly Blade Master. So when this enters the battlefield, you can attach any number of aura and equipment to it. Then other creatures get a buff for each aura attached to the Blade Master. This card is a GG card right here. So the next card we have here is Words of Worship. This card reads that the next time you would draw a card this turn, you gain 5 life instead for 1 mana. And considering with Wylith, we're drawing 5 cards a time that we attack with Wylith. You gain a ton of life with this card. And then the Sunhome Fortress of the Legion. This gives a target creature double strike. This card, I'm telling you, this card is really good in this deck. And now off to the equipment, which is the fun part. So, the first piece of equipment that we have here is the Robe of Stars. I'm telling you, this card, by the precon that this card is in, because first of all, there's a lot of good cards inside that precon. However, this card right here is just absolutely awesome. Giving a creature the ability to phase out and phase out everything that's attached to it is just, oh my god, this card is a problem. Next card we had here is a Sword of Feast and Famine. So you deal damage to a player, you untap all the lands you control. It gives him protection from black and green. We have Sword of the Animist. When a creature attacks, you search a library for a basic land and put it onto the battlefield. Hexproof. Black Blade is just +1/+1 for each land you control. Hexproof. Equip 1. Equip 1 is pretty important. This gives, more importantly, haste and first strike. Equip 1. This says that when it enters the battlefield, you can attach it to a creature you control. Just 2 mana for extra 3 damage. It's pretty good. Maul of the Skyclaves. You attach it automatically to a creature that you control. This would give Wylith flying, more importantly. We have the Bloodforged Battle Axe. I believe that when you deal combat damage, you create a token copy of this Battle Axe. Mirror Shield. Hexproof. Commander's Plate. Equip the commander only to 3, and this has protection from each color that's not in your commander's color identity. Sword of Vengeance. Haste. Vigilance. First Strike. The Trepanation Blade is not only just a really good way to mill your opponent, but just sometimes you just get really lucky off of the trigger of this card. Essentially, they have to reveal cards on the top of their library till they reveal a land, and then Wylith would get +1/+0 for each card revealed this way. And then every card that's essentially shown is put into their graveyard. The Ring of Thune, equip 1, gives a creature vigilance. Golem Skin Gauntlets. This is a GG card sometimes, depending on the time that you play it. Equip 2, only costs 1. Then we have the Helm of Kaldra. We have the Shield of Kaldra. And then we have the Sword of Kaldra. I'm pretty sure this one gives everything, all of these pieces indestructible, and the equipped creatures indestructible. This one, I believe, gives haste, first strike, and something else that's important. And then this one gives him +5/+5, and then if you deal combat damage to a creature and they're removed this way, they're exiled from the game. Or I think even if you just deal damage to them, they're automatically exiled, which is pretty cool. So those are the cards that I have inside my Wylith deck. I want to thank Wizards of the Coast for making Kamigawa Neon Dynasty and allowing me to add, basically making a set that was specifically made to buff Wylith, essentially, and just making all these cards, because now I know that this deck, I mean, it was already pretty good, but just having the flexibility to play around these cards from Neon Dynasty, I think it's going to make playing Wylith even more fun than it was before. So if you watch this video up to this point, remember you can subscribe, comment, and like. If you comment, remember that you enter for a chance to win this week's giveaway, and the card from this week's giveaway is Satoru, a foil copy of Satoru Umezawa, okay? Remember, eat healthy, work out every single day, and most importantly, believe in yourself, all right? Peace.